fitness for evolution, right? But before that, you people write down about what Charles Darwin said. So you give the heading, concept of natural selection. Concept of natural selection. Okay, everyone switch on your videos. Come on quickly. Okay, very good. Siddhika, you also switch on your video.
Ma'am, my laptop broke.
Still broken?
Yes, ma'am. I shattered the entire screen, so I'm using my phone.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you people have given the heading as concept of natural selection. Okay, under that you write down the characteristics that enable some organisms. The characteristics that enable some organisms to survive better than others. To survive better than others in the same environment are said to be selected by nature. Are said to be selected by nature. The characteristics that enable some organisms to survive better than others in the same environment are said to be selected by nature. Then you write down fitness according to Charles Darwin. Fitness according to Charles Darwin Fitness according to Charles Darwin is reproductive fitness. Is reproductive fitness. Full stop. Is reproductive fitness. Full stop. Then you write down reproductive fitness means those organisms. Reproductive fitness means those organisms that are better selected. You can say those organisms who are better fit in the environment. Reproductive fitness means those organisms who are better fit in their environment produce more number of offsprings.
Better fit in?
Better fit in their environment produce more number of offsprings. Okay. Then you people write that their reproduction rate is higher than others. Their reproduction rate is higher than others. All right. Can you see the screen? The writing screen? All right. Okay. And then you write down the organisms that are reproductively fit, the organisms that are reproductively fit will survive better. Will survive better. Okay, they'll be like able to adapt better and and hence they will get selected. They will get selected by the nature. So this is what we call as natural selection. Only those organisms will get selected by the nature that are reproductively fit organisms. And remember that natural selection, this being selected by the nature is called as natural selection. So this natural selection is responsible for evolution. It is responsible for evolution. Any doubts up until now? All right, everyone switch on their videos. No one will switch off their videos, okay? So switch it on. Any doubts up until now, students?
No, ma'am.
All right, so in the
No, ma'am.
previous class, we talked about the evidence for evolution. Like, how do we know that evolution took place, right? So what was the first and the most important evolution, students?
Fossils.
Very good. So we know that the remains of dead remains of the organisms that get pressed under the soil or pressed under the rock becomes the fossil, right? And these fossils, they give us what kind of evidence? So they give us paleontological evidence. Paleontological evidence. So this evidence is provided by the fossil. Now talking about what is this particular fossil. So you people write down. When an organism dies, when an organism dies, then what happens? Its body decomposes. Its body decomposes and gets lost in the environment. Its body decomposes and gets lost in the environment. Okay, this is what happens. But if it is getting lost, then how are we getting the fossil? Remember that the hard body parts. Okay, you write down, but the hard body parts, of the organism but the hard body parts of the organism gets preserved in the rocks, or any other form and it becomes a fossil. Mariam, why were you absent so many days? Hmm?
Ma'am, last week I had a wedding to attend,
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. And yesterday I was very sick.
You were very sick.
Yeah.
India is not treating you nicely.
No,
No, it's not. Sad. What is it doing to you?
I had flu, like throat pain, cough, and cold.
Did you diagnose yourself by Human Health and Disease? Hmm? Or no, you did not diagnose yourself.
I think it was viral.
Viral.
First, my brother got it, and then everyone in the house got it.
Okay, so it was communicable, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as far as we talked about the hard parts of the organism, so it can be the bones of organism, teeth of organism, shells, and even the wood for the plant organism. Plants can also be fossilized. So, these are the parts that can be fossilized. Now, the fossil that are present in the different layers of the soil, or you can say the different strata of the soil, tells us about their origin or tells us when they existed for a period of time. So that is how fossils, they perform a great deal of you can say they are a great deal of importance in terms of being an evidence for evolution. Clear? So the first kind of evidence was fossil. How many of you have heard about Archaeopteryx? None of you. It is like sort of, it looks like a bird and it also looks like a lizard. It's a mix of both. You haven't ever seen Archaeopteryx? Wait, I'll show you. You have. You don't know the name. Maybe you haven't. See this. Might have. I think everyone has seen this. You don't know that it is called as Archaeopteryx. See this one. Actually, they are known because their fossils were found. Okay. And with the help of their fossils, people used to like believe that okay, there used to be some kind of organism that had the characteristic of reptiles also and had the characteristic of the birds also. Why? Because it had feathers, it had wings. But then if you see the basic structure of its body, so it had jaws, it had tailbone present, so all of these things were present. So this is sort of like acting like a connecting link. So this was a very, you can say, important fossil that was formed during that time. Okay. Now, how many of you know that dinosaurs, they existed in which period of time?
Jurassic era.
Jurassic period. Yes. The Jurassic Park, the name of the movie has been derived from the Jurassic period wherein the dinosaurs used to exist. But I don't think that it has been given in your syllabus. So we'll look at the next evolution. What was the next evidence for evolution? Divergent evolution. How many of you remember divergent evolution? Yeah, exactly. Divergent evolution. Okay. We'll see. The second one is the presence of homologous structures. Who can explain homologous structures to me? Homologous structures. The
Uh,
structure.
I remember the examples.
Say.
Humans, whales, bats, and cheetahs. We all have a humerus bone in common. A radius ulna and our fingers bone in common, but we all use them for different reasons.
Very good. See, homologous structures are those structures that have a similar origin. They have a similar plan. They have a similar morphology. But the use or the performance that they have is different. Okay, that is what we call as homologous structures. So we can say structures that are similar, structures that are similar in anatomy. Let's just say the internal structure is same, but different in function. But different in function. So those structures are what we call as homologous structures. Okay, now let us see what are the examples. So talking about the wings of bat, the wings of bat, forelimb of humans, forelimb of humans. Then we have the dolphin fins, I think, fins of dolphins. Okay, all of these have a similar basic structure. They have humerus present, they have radius, ulna, meaning the bones are same, but not dolphin, whales. Also cheetah. Okay, right, 4 limbs only. Like 4 limbs of human, whales, cheetah. All of it, like all of them have the similar basic plan. They have the same bones present, but their functions are different. Like bats use their humerus radius ulna for flying. Us humans, we use for picking things up and do writing and everything. Whales use it for swimming. Cheetah, they use it for running very fast and also climbing up the trees. So this is homologous structures. Okay. And remember that the homologous structures, the kind of evolution that they show is divergent evolution. Divergent. Mariam, you understand the meaning of divergent? Say whatever you understand by that. I'll tell you the real one. You're wrong.
Different or variety. I don't know.
Variety. Okay. Sort of, you're very close. See, divergent means, I'll show you with the help of the action that I did in the previous class also for them. This. Okay. This, starting from here, spreading like this. This is divergent. And if I do this, then what do you think it is? What would be the opposite of divergent? Convergent.
Okay.
Okay. So when we talk about homologous structures, they have similar basic plan. Their anatomy is same. All of them use it for different purposes. So the kind of evolution which will be shown by homologous structures will be divergent evolution. So here the first example is the wings of bat, 4 limbs of human, whales and cheetah. Do you people want me to elaborate this, or you can understand by just the name of the example? You'll understand that way? Okay. So vertebrate, heart and brain. Shall I elaborate this or you will understand?
Ma'am, elaborate on the part of the brains.
Part of the brain.
Yeah.
See. Heart, you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, what happens when we talk about the brain of the vertebrates? Okay. Depending upon the size of the organism, starting from frogs, then there is reptiles, cats, humans. If we look at all of them, they have the same basic structure of the brain. Okay, same basic structures are there. But are all of our brains working the same way? No. Intellect, only humans have, right? Speech, only humans have. Then the sense of heightened smell, we don't have that. Cats do, right? Other animals do. So that is how vertebrate hearts, like cats, dogs, humans, amphibians, all of us come under vertebrata, right? We have a vertebral column present, isn't it? The lizards, they will also come under vertebrata. But the thing is that, will it be different? How will it be different? Because the same basic structure is same, but the development or the complexity or the use of the brain is different in all the organisms. We don't hunt, but cats do, right? So this is what it means, right? So I'll give you the elaborate version of this. So under that you write down hearts, in various vertebrates, hearts in various vertebrates, such as, now you should know what comes under vertebrates. So all the fishes come under vertebrates, all the amphibians come under vertebrates, all the reptiles, they also come under vertebrates. Okay, then what we have? We have the birds and of course the mammals. All of these organisms come under the vertebrata. Okay, so talking about their heart, if we talk about fishes, amphibians, reptiles, and birds and mammals, they have one common thing, that they have chambers present in the heart, right? So chambers, like hearts in various vertebrates have chambers present, have the presence of chambers. We know fishes have a two-chambered heart, amphibians and reptiles have a three-chambered heart, and birds and mammals have four-chambered heart. So all of them, what is the common thing? They have chambers, like chambers present in their hearts. But what is the difference? What kind of work they are doing, whether they are pumping out oxygenated blood, deoxygenated blood, mixed blood, or both the kinds of blood separately. So that is how they are different. So that is where they are diverging. So they have the presence of chambers, but they pump out, but they pump out different kinds of blood. Different kinds of blood. Now, under that, if you still are confused, you can write that deoxygenated blood. Okay. Then there is a heart that can pump out oxygenated blood. Then mixed blood. Right. So this is how it would diverge. Talking about the vertebrate brain. So brain also have a similar basic structure, but then there you can say complexity differs in every vertebrate. So brain, you can write vertebrate brains have the same basic structure. But how do they differ? They differ in complexity and use. Complexity and use. So this is how we can tell about the vertebrate brains. Any doubts up until now? So these are all the examples for humans and animals. Now let us see one more example of the plants, because we can't forget about the plants. They are also a part of the evolution. So talking about the plants, I told you that thorn of bougainvillea, tendrils of cucurbita, thorn of bougainvillea. How many of you have seen bougainvillea plant? You have, but you don't know that it is called as bougainvillea. Have you seen those plants that are like big, big trees are there with beautiful folded pink flowers? Folded pink flowers. I'll show you the picture so you'll understand it better. Everyone has seen this. I don't think there is any person in the world who hasn't seen bougainvillea. This one. Have you people seen this or not?
Yes, ma'am.
In India, this is very common.
Yes, ma'am.
Very common. And I don't know, is it there in the places that you people live, but this is bougainvillea. Okay. So bougainvillea, this plant has thorns. Okay. So thorns of bougainvillea and tendrils. How many of you have seen tendrils? I'll show you that also. So tendrils of cucurbita and thorns of bougainvillea, these two structures are homologous. Now, how do I say that they are homologous? It's because, first of all, both of them are modifications. Okay, both of them are modifications. Now, the thorn is modification for protection. Plants have thorns. Why? So that if anyone is trying to pick them, or if anyone is like any organism is trying to eat them, so they'll get harmed and not come near them. So that is why they have thorns. And tendrils are there for support, for like organisms like climbers. You might have heard about climbers. They are weak plants. So they need support to grow. So they have spring-like structures called as tendrils. And if you'll provide them with a fence, or even if you put a pen like this in front of them, in like beside them, they'll start wrapping around the pen to get support. So that is what they do. So the thorns and tendrils both are axillary in position. They are present at the axil of the leaf. They are stem modification. Okay, or more importantly, you can write they are the modifications of blood, I'm saying, bud. This is okay. Both are modifications. Both are modifications of axillary buds, but thorns are used for protection and tendrils are used for support. So you see that the way they are using it is different, but both of them originate from the same. Dear students, so with that being said, we can say that homologous structures confers divergent evolution. Divergent evolution. And if you ever try to forget, just take this example. Okay, this you can draw this also so that you don't forget. This is divergent evolution. Any doubts in divergent evolution? Okay, coming back to here. Now let us talk about the another kind, that is convergent evolution. That is analogous structures. Okay, I got this thing too. Now homology is there. Now another thing that we have to see is analog. The other word is analogy. Now in this case, we know if we talk about the wings of a butterfly, okay, and we talk about the wings of a bird. So sort of they look alike, right? They look alike and their functions are also same. Butterflies, they also use their wings for flying, and birds, they also use their wings for flying. But they are not anatomically similar, meaning the way they are made is not similar. So these kind of structures that have the same function but different anatomy is what we call as analogous structures, and they give convergent evolution. Different structures coming together for one particular function, flying. Okay, and see, this is the homologous structure diagram. See, the thorns, and these are the spring-like structures called as the tendrils. Both of them are stem modification. Okay, but one is used for protection, the other is used for support. Any doubts up until now? Okay. So different structures having the common function is what is called as analogous structures, and analogous structures give us convergent evolution. Other examples are the eye of octopus and the eye of mammals. Eye is there, so eye is used for the sight, right? Octopus, they also use their eyes for seeing. So does the mammals. But what is the difference? Mammalian eye has been made differently, and octopus is a mollusk, right? So its eye has been made differently. So function is same, but the structures are different. Then the flippers of penguins and the flippers of dolphins. Different functions, but they both use it for swimming purpose, right? So that is why this is analogous structures. Now, one can say that it is the similar habitat that has resulted in selection of similar adaptive features in different groups of organisms, but towards the same function. Again, for plant example, sweet potato. How many of you have had sweet potato? You have? You people like it? Okay. So, and how many of you have had potatoes? Okay. So, both of them, they are edible things for us, right? But remember that sweet potato is a storage modification of root. The sweet potato plant, where do we get the sweet potato from? It is coming from the root. So, it is a root modification. Talking about the potato, it is a stem modification. But both of them for plants, what are they? They are storage structures. They are for storage. So sweet potato and potato, they are the examples of, again, analogy or analogous structures. So any doubts in analogy, homology? You know, in exams, they'll give you hypothetical structures, okay? Different from what you have studied in your book, what I am teaching you. They'll give you anything. You'll have to relate and understand whether they are same, whether they are different, what is their function. Now, in the same line of argument, similarities in proteins and genes performing a given function among diverse organisms gives clues to common ancestry. These biochemical similarities point to the same shared ancestry as structural similarities among diverse organisms. Now, if you look at us humans, our body, our blood, our hair, our skin, everywhere DNA is present, right? This is our genetic material. Now, if you look at a bacteria also has DNA, isn't it? So, if bacteria also has DNA and we also have DNA as a genetic material, it means that we are somewhat related, somewhat to 1% extent, right? Meaning evolution took place from bacteria till humans, but still some common characters persisted. Clear? This is what they mean to say. Now, man has bred selected plants and animals for agriculture, horticulture, sport, or security. You people remember artificial hybridization? Hmm? In that particular thing, what were we doing? We were selecting which type of pollen to be given. Isn't it? What are the sub techniques in that? Who remembers?
Emasculation and bagging.
Very good. Emasculation and bagging. These were the techniques. So, us humans, we have, like you can say, modified things according to our benefit also. Now, apart from that, there are many people that have domesticated many wild animals and crops. Right? Wild animals. There are many people who have lions and tigers. I think there is like a sheikh of Dubai. I have seen his videos. He sits with lioness and lions. So he has domesticated wild organisms also. So man is capable of doing anything. Apart from that, human beings have also created breeds of other organisms such as dogs. Like, have you seen the pug dogs, the ones that come in Vodafone ad? Pug dog. That pug has been created by human beings. It is not naturally available in the world. Okay, pugs have been created artificially. So again, these things, they'll not tell us about the evolution aspect, but we say that still all of them belong to the same group. Even if a new dog is developed, it doesn't get transferred into a different phylum or a different group. It will stay in under vertebrate only, right? Okay, now coming on to a very, you can say, unique property. This is also asked many a times in questions, the thing that I'm talking about, natural selection. Now, how natural selection happened, we are going to see the whole entire story behind it. See, uh, the proper evidence for supporting evolution or supporting natural selection came from England. Now, you people know what moths are? Moth, M-O-T-H, right? Okay. They look like butterflies, but they're not butterflies, right? They're ugly, to be very honest. Okay, talking.
Hairy butterflies, ma'am.
Yeah, hairy butterflies, colorless butterflies, disgusting butterflies. So basically those moth only, right? And like the maximum moths that you might have seen, what color have they been in?
Like brown.
Brownish,
White.
beige, yeah, whitish color, right? Okay, good. So you people know that much. Okay. Now during the 1850s, during this time, industrialization did not happen, meaning industries and buildings did not set up in England. So at that time, the moths that were there in the England, they were white moths. Okay, they had white color bodies. Okay, so at that time, the presence of white moths were more as compared to the dark moths. Okay, the white colored clean moths were present in more in number. But when industrialization happened, after like probably in the 1920s, okay, industries were set up, buildings were set up, and everything happened. Urbanization happened. So in that time, dark winged moth appear in the area more as compared to the white moths. Okay, why? Because maybe dust deposited on them or variety of other reasons. But now the dark winged ones were found more. Now, how would you understand the natural selection here if we are talking about before industrialization? Okay, before industrialization, if we talk about this, if this is a tree, okay, so if the tree is sort of like you can say light colored, or the bark of the tree is dark colored, let's just, okay, it is dark colored like dark brown and stuff, and if the white winged moth came and sit on it, and if there was a dark winged moth, if the predator of the moth comes, which one will it pick up?
White one.
White one. Why? Because white against black is clearly seen rather than black against black, right? So here, since the white one got eaten by the predator, so this black one got selected by the nature. You're getting my point? So this is how they are explaining the natural selection. So they said that the predators will spot a moth against a contrasting background. Now, during the post-industrialization period, the tree trunks became dark due to the industrial smoke and soot, right? The smoke and the dust settled on the trees. So whatever, like however many the white winged moths were there, they got spotted by the predator and they got eaten up. But the black winged or the dark winged moth, they remained safe, right? They survived. Before industrialization, what happens that since the trees were not getting polluted, their trunks were fine, so lichens grew on them. What are lichens? Lichen. Yes, lichens, students, like
Symbiotic
hmm,
relationship.
between.
Uh,
Say whatever is there in your mind. Symbiotic relationship between
algae.
and
I don't remember.
fungus, algae and fungus,
Oh, okay. I knew
right?
that. I was gonna say that.
So that is why I was asking you to say it, because I taught you this. So lichen is a symbiotic association, and now lichens, they are excellent pollution indicators. Okay, so where in any area where there will be no pollution, only they will grow there. If the pollution increases, the lichen will start decreasing. So before industrialization, the trees, they were covered with lichen, which were very light colored. So now in that, the white winged moth were present. Then the dark winged ones will be eaten by the predator. The white one will camouflage. Okay. So this is how they are showing that depending upon the circumstances, the nature will select those that are obvious to be predated. Getting my point? So the lichens, they are used as industrial pollution indicators. This can be asked also in question, like why are they natural like pollution indicators? So you say that because they can't grow in polluted areas, the areas containing a lot of sulfur dioxide. They can't grow in that. That is why. So now ultimately we can say that in the areas where industrialization did not occur, meaning in the rural areas, the count of the melanic moths was low, meaning the dark moths were low in those areas, white moths were more. This showed that a mixed population, those that can better adapt, survive, and increase in population size, meaning the dark winged ones, they were also getting eaten after this thing before industrialization. The light ones, they were being eaten. But if had there been a moth that was intermediate in color, not dark, not light, then he wouldn't have been spotted by the predator. So he would have been safe. So this is what they are saying, that in a mixed population, those can better adapt, meaning those that can better adapt will survive and increase in population. And always remember that no variant is completely wiped out, meaning if the white moths were being eaten, it doesn't mean the whole population went away. That cannot happen in the world, because if any organism, the whole entire thing gets extinct, the world will become imbalanced. Clear? Any doubts up until now? All right. Similarly, excess use of herbicides, pesticides has only resulted in the selection of resistant varieties in much lesser time scale. This is also true for microbes against which we employ antibiotics or drugs, right? Because some of them become resistant, and those organisms that have become resistant, they will not die. So sort of you can say they are getting selected by the nature because they have resistance in their body. Now, so hence, resistant organisms or cells are appearing in a time scale of months or years and not centuries. These are examples of evolution by anthropogenic actions, meaning man-made actions. Because human interference has been going on in the world since time immemorial. So many a times the evolution can also happen because of human actions also. Any doubts up until now? Now we'll talk about the next thing, that is adaptive radiation. Now you people see those two stars? I hope that tells you how important this topic is. So now we'll talk about adaptive radiation. So adaptive radiation, I'll tell you what it is. Now during his journey, like Charles Darwin, he went on a voyage. Okay, he went on a voyage, meaning a sea trip, sail. And his ship was named as HMS Beagle. So while he was on his journey, he went to an island called as Galapagos. There, what he observed, I mean, truly he was so, you can say, dedicated to science, because if we had been there on a voyage, we would have been looking at the beautiful scenes, right? Clicking pictures, making videos, and he was looking at birds. And more particularly, he was looking at the beaks of the bird. Okay, now see. What he observed was amazing diversity of creatures. The small black birds that were later, like these birds were named after him. So they called them Darwin's finches. So these birds amazed him. Like he said that there had been multiple varieties of the same kinds of birds with some modifications in them. For example, he saw the same birds having a smaller beak so that they can eat seed. Then he saw them having pointier and longer beaks so that they can become insectivorous in another area. The same bird, but present in another area, they had longer beaks. So if you see here, this is the variation in the beaks. Do you see? All of them are the same kinds of birds, but their beaks are modified. See, this one is for seed habitat, for like insect picking and all. And some of them are for vegetarian finches also. So he said that this is also evolution, wherein you can say that different species in a geographical area starting from a point and literally radiating to other geographical area is known as adaptive radiation, meaning the same species appears different in different areas. They are performing different functions. They are, you can say, adapting to the world better or in a different way in different areas. So the best example for adaptive radiation is Darwin's finches. Okay, they'll like directly ask you this question. Now, Darwin finches represent one of the best example of the phenomena that is adaptive radiation. Now, another example for adaptive radiation is Australian marsupials. You people, have you seen, do you know what organisms are known as marsupials? Those organisms that carry their young one in pouches. Those are marsupials, like kangaroo. Okay. Now, a number of marsupials, each different from another, evolved from an ancestral stock, but all within the Australian island continent. Now, all of them are marsupials, right? But some have different features, and like all of them have different features. And the greatest thing is that they are all present in that one continent, that is Australian island continent. So when more than one adaptive radiation appear to have occurred in an isolated geographical area, one can call this convergent evolution, isn't it? They are converging towards the same kind of things, right? Now, this is marsupial radiation. See, in Australia, there was wombat, kangaroo, marsupial rat, bandicoot. All of them had the marsupial structure in them, but then they were found at different locations. See this. The another example for adaptive radiation is placental mammals in Australia, meaning they had similarities with marsupials in terms of their structure, their development, but again, they showed different functions or different ways of living life. For example, they have given placental wolf and Tasmanian wolf, which is a marsupial. This one, see this. The placental wolf and the Tasmanian wolf. Both of them are showing convergent evolution. How? They both are wolves, isn't it? They both are wolves. They both, like, the feeding pattern will also be same in them. But one is from Australia and it is a marsupial, and the other is placental, meaning they don't carry their young ones in the pouch. So you see, adaptive radiation tells us like it is very connected with the convergent evolution. Any doubts?
Can you explain the last part again?
The placental wolf part.
Yeah.
See, the placental wolf and the Tasmanian wolf, both of them are wolves. Okay. Like normally they would be carnivorous, they would hunt, they would eat and all of that. But their origins are different. Tasmanian wolf is a marsupial organism, whereas the placental wolf is not a marsupial organism. So they have been evolved differently, but they are performing the same function, or they are being the same organism, just like how this thing convergent evolution was there, right? Sweet potato was different, potato was different, both of them had similar functions. So adaptive radiation tells us about convergent evolution. Clear? So all of these are, like, we had homology, analogy, fossil. These are the evidences. Now coming on to the next evolution, called as the biological evolution. Let us see how that happens. Evolution by natural selection, in a true sense, would have started when cellular forms of life with differences in metabolic capability originated on Earth. Some would have been better capable, some would have been less capable. So those that have been more capable, they would have gotten selected by the nature. Now, the essence of Darwinian theory about evolution is natural selection. All that he says two things: reproductive fitness, natural selection. This is what he is concerned about. Now, the rate of appearance of new life forms is linked to the life cycle or the lifespan. One second, students. All right. Yeah. So as I was saying, the rate of appearance of new forms is linked to the life cycle or the lifespan. Microbes that divide fast have the ability to multiply and become millions within hours, right? We know that microbes, they have a very high rate of division. A colony of bacteria, let's just say there is a colony, like whenever we say a group of bacteria, we say a colony of bacteria. So a colony of bacteria, let's say A, growing on a given medium, has built-in variation in terms of ability to utilize a feed component. Meaning they are eating the medium and reproducing more and more. If we say that, okay, let us change the medium. Okay, we change the medium now. So if we change the medium, then some of the bacteria would die because they can't eat the new medium. But amongst them, there will be some that would even survive on the new medium. So we'll say that these ones that survived on the new medium, they are selected by the nature, isn't it? They were fit, so they got selected. So a change in the medium composition would bring out only that part of the population, say B, that can survive under the new condition. In due course of time, this variant population will outgrow the others and this will become a new species. The ones that are better adapted to a new medium. Clear? Same way, if now see, because it is microorganism, it is bacteria, so we are observing it easily, right? We can easily observe it. Why? Because they are like, they have a very tiny lifespan, right? They have like, they can reproduce very fast and everything. But if you wanted to see the same thing in the fish or a fowl, like birds, then you will take millions of years to understand how they are working, isn't it? So anyways, with that being said, we'll say that in the case of bacteria or any species, the fitness of B is better than the fitness of A under new condition. So nature selects for fitness, and this fitness is also based on the characters which are inherited, meaning it has to be genetically available, meaning those organisms, the group of bacteria, the B bacteria, that were able to grow on the like changed medium. So all of the members of that colony would have happened to do that, meaning it is genetic. It comes from one generation to another. Hence, there must be a genetic basis for getting selected and to evolve. Another way of saying the same thing is that some organisms are better adapted to survive in an otherwise hostile environment, right? And adaptive ability is inherited. It has genetic basis, meaning there are some organisms that can live in the worst condition also and they will thrive. But then there are some organisms that will not be able to and they will not survive anymore. They'll not thrive. The species will end then and there. So fitness is the end result of the ability to adapt and get selected by the nature. Now, if any organism, whether it is bacteria, whether it is fish, any organism, if that is getting selected by the nature, it means that it is reproductively fit. If it survives, then it will reproduce. And if it will reproduce, then more and more population will be there. Any doubts up until now? Now, branching descent and natural selection. These are the two key concepts of the Darwinian theory of evolution. Again, asked as such in fill in the blanks. What are the two key concepts of Darwinian theory? So you'd say branching descent and natural selection. Now we are going to talk about something very stupid, such as a person who was a French naturalist. His name was Lamarck. So he said that He said a very silly thing. So he came before Darwin. Okay, so he said that evolution of life forms had occurred but driven by use and disuse of organs. He said that all those organs that are being used by us regularly, they will evolve, and the organs that are not being used, they will not evolve. So he gave the examples of giraffes. Okay, so what used to happen is that they said that initially when the earth was being formed and everything, so at that time there were like not the presence of tall trees, there were shorter branches and shorter trees. So while that happened, the giraffes, they need food, right? They eat the plants only, so they used to bend down to take those leaves. Now slowly when the trees came to appear, the giraffes, they had to stretch upwards to get the leaves, and during that stretching only, this elongated their necks. That is what Lamarck said, that their necks got elongated because they had to reach the tall leaves. So this is obviously not possible, and no one believed on this theory that Lamarck did, like gave. Okay, so and also remember students that anything that has been acquired will not get passed on to the next generation. For example, there are many of you that have a beautiful handwriting, right? Or let's just talk about your parents. Like mostly your parents have better handwritings than you, isn't it? They have very fancy handwritings. But you don't have fancy handwriting. Or maybe some of you do. No, none of you do. I've seen all of your handwriting. So none of you have fancy handwriting, right? But your parents might have. Or if you compare your signature with your parents' signature, isn't your parents' signature very fancy? But yours is like basic signature. So what I mean to say that any quality that has been acquired, meaning your parents, they wrote a lot, so their handwriting became beautiful. You wrote a little less. I mean, your handwritings are not horrible. Don't get me wrong, students. But it's that you didn't practice as much as them. So obviously, if had it been an inheritable trait, so this good handwriting would have been passed on to you also. But that's not the case, right? So this is what I mean to tell you, that acquired traits. You people remember acquired immunity, right? Acquired immunity was also not passed on to the next generation, isn't it? Innate immunity was, but acquired immunity wasn't. Now, moving forward, is evolution a process or the result of a process? Nobody knows this. But in totality, people say that evolution is a process itself, right? It happens slowly and gradually. And the story of life on Earth tells us about the evolution. And we know natural selection played a big role in it. Now, it is possible that the work of Thomas Malthus on population influenced Darwin. See, natural selection is based on certain observations which are factual, right? Something that is seen easily. For example, natural resources are limited. Populations are stable in size except for seasonal fluctuation. Members of a population vary in characteristics, right? All of these things, they look superficially similar, but most of the variations, they will get inherited because they get generated during sexual reproduction. All of us know that, right? So if I say that resources are unlimited, if I say all of the resources, whether it is renewable or non-renewable, the resources are unlimited. So in that case, will the population grow a lot or will it grow less? If the resources are unlimited.
Grow a lot.
Yeah, it'll grow a lot. But do you think that is an ideal case? Are the resources unlimited? No, they aren't. Even the water that we use, it is also limited. Right? They say that save water for the next generation, next future generation. So now we know that in reality, the resources are limited and there has to be competition for the resources, isn't it? Competition has to be there. Like, for example, the seats in colleges are very less. The population of studying in India, it's like more than the seats. There is a very great competition. isn't it? To get the seat. Same thing goes for the population and the real world. Any doubts up until now? Okay, now tell me one thing. How many of you have not written down the notes? Okay, you can note it down. Or those who have, can you see the notes part? Or you are seeing the, okay, you're seeing that.
Textbook PDF, ma'am.
Okay. Now, okay, now you people can note it down. You can check if any point is left, and those who haven't noted it down, you can note it down. Okay.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
All of you are done, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
All right, students, any doubts up until now?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Okay. Only 2 students are there in the class. What about the others? No one is responding. Amna and Siddhika, you there in the class or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is the chapter getting boring for anyone?
No, ma'am.
Good. Good. Very good.
No, ma'am.
Good. All right. So up until now, we have seen and see students, natural selection is also sort of like an evidence for evolution because it is telling us how evolution might have took place, right? Okay. Now moving forward, let us see. So where were we? Hmm. So yeah, so we were talking about resources being limited. If the resources are limited, then that will mean that competition will arise, right? Two species will be competing for the same thing, right? So he said that, Darwin said that variations which are heritable and which make resource utilization better for few will enable only those to reproduce and leave more progeny. Hence, for a period of time, over many generations, survivors will leave more progeny, and there would be a change in population characteristic, and hence new life form would appear. Basically, he is again talking about the natural selection and how the reproductively fit organisms will leave behind more and more progeny. Now let us see the mechanism of evolution. But I'm thinking to keep this for the next class, like it will be too much. You people have understood everything up until now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything that troubled you?
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Okay, any doubts in any other chapter? Also, students, how is your preparation for your midterm exam going? Are you people preparing, or you still haven't started to study? You're waiting for the 2 days before exams to come. Study? No. Yes. It's good that you're studying. Please
Yes,
study a
ma'am.
lot. Okay. Because I really want all of you to score very nicely in your examinations. I really, really want it. So let us make it like a challenge to us that you will score how much? How much marks is your exam carrying?
70.
70, ma'am.
70. 70 for all. So you only tell me how much will you people score?
Above
Like
50.
above 50? Above 60? Above 50 is bare
Above 60.
minimum.
Above
See,
65.
above 70? See, yeah, above 65. Yes, I would want you people to score really, really well. See, above 50, above 30 is bare minimum. I don't expect that from you all. I expect great, great marks. So if the exam is of 70 marks, I would really hope that you people prepare for 70 marks, 70 out of 70. But I know during the exam, some things go wrong. We sometimes get panic or sometimes don't even know the answer. That's fine. It doesn't matter if you get full marks, but at least try to be 60 plus or 65 plus. Okay, for all the students. Right? It doesn't mean that if you'll get less marks, I'll scold you. I'll not scold you, of course. But if you'll get great marks, I'll be very happy. And don't you all want me to be happy?
Yes.
You want me to be happy or you want me to be sad?
Happy.
Happy. And
Happy.
yeah, very good. So if if I'll be happy, then you will be happy, and if you'll be happy, then I'll be happy. So prepare really, really well for your test. Learn everything that is possible to learn. Okay. And if you have any doubts, come to me. Like even if it is not Saturday and Sunday, tell the team, they will organize an extra class for you. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can come and reach out to me. Okay, students.